wasn't until the 17th century that sparkling wine was invented and popularised in Champagne. However, the history of winemaking in this famed region stretches back at least 2,000 years to the Roman times. In fact, the hundreds of kilometres of chalk tunnels throughout Champagne that are now used to house millions of bottles of champagne were originally dug by the Romans.
So Björn, is it true that the chalk cellars in Champagne are 2,000 years old?
That's very true. The Romans came to the region in the 1st century and they needed a lot of building material and fertilizers, so they dug themselves deep into the chalk pits. So they have these quarries that are hundreds and hundreds of kilometers long. Some companies even have trains down there, like a tubes system, and it's 30 meters down below.
It is likely that the grapevines in Champagne were planted around a similar time to Burgundy, when the Romans arrived on the coast near Marseille and moved up through France. Moving forward to 400 AD, Champagne's capital, Reims, had become a significant city in France. Clovis, the first king of the Franks, was crowned here in 496 AD in a church where the Cathedral of Reims now lies. From 898 AD onwards, all French kings were crowned in Reims. It is said that Champagne wines were in abundance at the coronation banquets and quickly gained a reputation for their taste and quality. By the 12th century, the reputation of Champagne's wines had spread beyond its borders and they were highly sought after. However, up until the 17th century, these were still wines. It wasn't until the English physician Christopher Merritt discovered the method for making sparkling wine in 1662, which was adopted and perfected by the famous monk Dom Perignon, that sparkling wine became integral to the Champagne region. From the 18th century onwards, sparkling wines from Champagne became the primary focus, with characters such as Madame Clicquot and Charles Heidsieck spreading its glory to Europe and North America respectively. Forward to the early 20th century, and the region of Champagne, located close to the borders of Belgium and Germany, became pivotal in both of the world wars.
So Björn, how did the war impact the region of Champagne?
So it's not only one war. You know, the region of Champagne has been inflicted by basically every war in the book, because the strategic point of where Champagne is very close to Paris. We start with World War I, for instance. The cities were bombed and all the villages. And of course, in the middle of this, in 1914, which is regarded one of the best vintages ever made, was actually in the beginning of the war. And in the Second World War, they were so afraid that the Nazis would actually ship all the champagnes to Germany, so people hired a lot of champagnes in the cellars. And it was also used, you know, during the bombings to hide down in the cellars. There were schools for the kids, there were even hospitals for injured people. So yeah, there's been a lot of things going on in those cellars. And it's a very important part of the cultural history of the region, and never to forget, you know, what happened during all these wars. And yeah, there's a lot of things going on during the centuries. And for instance, I love one of the quotes from the quote machine, Winston Churchill, that said, "Remember, gentlemen, it's not only for France we're fighting for, it's for Champagne." And I think that says it all.
Today, Champagne is a quaint and picturesque area of France with its rolling hills and beautiful vineyards. However, the region's rich history has helped pave the way for Champagne becoming one of the most renowned and recognized styles of wine all around the world.